In your case,
This call is now being
you will
recorded.
not see any of these recent projects because you would not have executed any. So you will see this blank and you will see this PCB Proteus design suite 8.1 or 8.0, whichever you download. Right? So what Proteus is a very powerful simulation software. It is not only for 8051. You can simulate a lot of things in it, from Arduino programs till a lot of other process and compilers are available in it. Right? So what we'll be using it for only 8051, but you can explore this further for a lot of other things. You can do mini projects on this. You can do before you are making a hardware design. If you want to check if your program is working properly or not, you can simulate in this and check. So a lot of things are possible in Proteus. You can explore it once you learn the basics. So what we'll be teaching you here is how to use Proteus for 8051 simulations. Right? So in Keel simulation, what we had done was we had simply written the code in a simulator and executed it. And we were giving the input output through simulated pins. Like we were checking the peripherals in the Keel simulation window, and we are giving whatever input and output we want to take. So there was no option of actually connecting hardware and seeing. As a very basic example, in the class we have seen so many times a program for blinking an LED, but there is no LED present in Keel to actually connect and see how it looks when you make LED blink in 8051. So all those hardware connections are possible in Proteus. So you can actually build a hardware model, a simulation of a hardware model, and see how the output is going to look when you run the program. Right? So that's what we're going to do using Proteus. So once you launch this Proteus design suite file, click on File, click on New Project. Okay, there's an option called as New Project here. Click on New Project. It will pop up with a few questions. So it will ask you to give a name for the project. You can give any name. Don't change the extension. It's Protean. The extension is PDS PRJ Proteus Design Suite Project. So don't change the extension. Change the name to whatever you want to name it. So let me just say example 8051 8051 underscore 1. Any name you want. Right? So give the name here. You can create a new project. Click on the new project here, and then click on next. Right? Then it will ask you for a schematic. Schematic is basically where do you want to place your components. Right? So because this is a hardware board, whatever we are going to create is going to be a hardware board. So there has to be a schematic where we can place the actual hardware on. So you need to select what size of that layout do you want to go on. Is it a very small layout? Is it a very big layout? Are there only two hardware components, three hardware components? Based on that, you can select how big is your schematic. So we can create a schematic from selected template. As of now, for us, default template is enough. We don't want to worry about any of these bigger templates because as of now, we are not going to connect very big hardwares. So default is enough for us. Later, if you are exploring it for a much more complicated project, you can select any other bigger landscape, not even A2, A3. Basically, the size will change. How big is the layout? Basically, if you ever worked on a printed circuit board, the PCB comes in different sizes, right? So you can have a small PCB, big PCB, depending on how many components you want to place. So you can have a PCB of this size, small enough just to fit in my hand. I can have a PCB of this big size, depending on the hardware that I'm going to build. Right? So this question is basically asking how big is your PCB where we are going to place the components. So as of now, because we are not very keen on the size and all, so we will leave the size to default. We don't need to change anything here. So click on default schematic. So by default, it will not be selected. So select create schematic from selected template and then click on next. Here it will ask, do you want to create a PCB layout? As of now, we don't want to create a PCB layout because we are simply simulating on the system itself and checking the output. So this would be required if you are going to actually convert this project into a actual PCB and solder the components and make a hardware out of it. So if that is required, then you can select any PCB layout depending on a requirement. But for current requirement, we don't need a PCB layout. So you can select do not create a PCB layout because we don't need it. Okay, then click on next. Now there are two things you can do from here. One, you can create a no firmware project. That is, no firmware project is a very generic project. You can create anything, not only 8051. You can use it for any kind of simulation that you want. Simple switch based simulation, need not be a controller at all. Simple hardware like a turn on and turn off a LED using a switch, no controller present. So if you want to do a very generic hardware simulation and no controller is involved in it, you can select a no firmware project. So if you create a no firmware project, you click on next, and that's all the questions, and you click on finish. It will open a screen like this. So this is where you can place your components. So this is the schematic size, the default schematic size, the blue color border that you see here is the default schematic size. Right? That's what is available to you if you create a no firmware project. Okay, so you can create a specific firmware project from 8051 also, but we will do this because this gives you a freedom of creating any project you want. If I create a specific firmware project, then it becomes only for 8051 or only for whatever controller I choose. So we are just showing you a general way of creating a project. So from here, you can use this schematic for any application you want. Right? So now our schematic is ready. We can place our components, whatever we want to place on the schematic, and build the software and components and run it. So let us say I want to place some components. So components are available in this. There's an option called as P here on the left hand side. If you can see, there's something called as P, this place components P. Okay, or you can click on this. Either of them will launch the component window where to place the components, which components to choose. Okay, so this is for this is component mode. So click on this. As of now, it is not showing anything because the components you want to select has to be searched. So these are all the whatever you see here on the left here are all the different categories of components available. Right? So you have to search what component you want to place. Depending on your requirement, the search window will get populated, or you can click on each of these like analog ICs. So if you remember your LD, there were we had used 7400, 7402, 7432, different ICs were used. So there all those ICs are available here. You can pick up any IC you require from here, and you can simulate a simple AND gate if you want. So there are a number of ICs, huge number of ICs available here. You can take any one you want and simulate depending on the requirement. So if you know the IC number, you can pick it up from here and use it for your hardware. Similarly, there are capacitors, there are connectors, a lot of things are available inside this. So don't go around searching inside this. It's a better thing. Simply click on the keywords. There's a option called as keywords here and type out what you want. Let us say I want an LED. So I can say LED and hit enter. So it will show me everything that matches LED here. So on the left hand side, you can select under what class will LED fall. It will fall under diodes. So click on diodes and see what LEDs are available here. This is not showing, not this type of LEDs. Let me click on all. Let's just search for it. Okay. Yes, this is what you want. You know, not this. Yeah, this is the LED you're generally using, right? LED green, LED blue. So these are the general LEDs that you can see. On the right hand side, it will show you the symbol of the whatever component you are using. So this LED is what you want. There are different colors available, red, green, blue. Pick up whatever you want and just click on OK. Click on OK and you can see that part comes here. That you can, on the left hand side, you can see the LED is being shown here. So if you want to place this LED on the screen, just click on it, come in, type, place the component wherever you want to place. So that means the LED has been made part of your board now. So you can see that LED is available here. So all you have to do, click on this, get the mouse here, Just place it wherever you want. You can rotate it, right click, and if you want to make it horizontal, rotate anti-clockwise, rotate clockwise, whatever you want to do, you can do all those rotation depending on how you want to place it. If you want to place it like this, rotate, move it wherever you want. So all those simply mouse options. Right? So if you want to remove it, just select and click on delete, it will get removed. So now I have added an LED to the board. Now I will just show how you can connect the power connectors to it. So LED will require a positive here and negative here. Right? That's a simple, you need to connect a plus here and a minus here, turn on LED without any controller present. So for all those power connectors, there is another mode of this called terminal mode. So first is this is component mode, what you saw here. Then there's something called as terminals mode. On terminals mode, you will see input, output, and power and ground. Okay, so we need to give power to LED. So click on power and come here and click on anywhere you want. One power, this triangle that you see is basically a power plus 5 volts power available to you. Okay, so I'll rotate it 180 degrees to make it. So this end can be connected to the positive, and other end we need ground. So click on ground, come on the inside the schematic, click on wherever you want, the ground will come here. So now just to turn on LED, I have placed these three components. As of now, no controller is involved. I just want to connect LED. So when you want to make the connection, just escape everything and you will see a pencil symbol coming on your screen. Go to the component you want to connect. You can see when you come at the edge of the component, it becomes highlighted. That means you're going to connect something there. Click on that edge, drag the wire and go to wherever you want to connect and click on the click once more at that side. Now we have placed a connected the power to anode side. Similarly, click here, take your mouse to wherever you want to connect again. Click here. That's all. Now we have connected the LED with one positive and at the anode and ground side to the cathode. Very simple connection. So if I want to simulate this now, simulate this meaning what? The LED should turn on. That is all that is going to happen, right? There is no other component present. So on the left corner, you can see a play symbol. Okay, here on the left corner, you can see a play symbol. So just click on the play symbol to start the simulation. Okay, just play this. Okay, you can see the LED is on now. It just turned on in red color. Right? So the LED is on, so it is working. Then nothing else will happen in this simulation. That's all that is there to happen. Right? So LED is on. It will remain on as long as simulation is running. Right? That's a very simple hardware connection you can do. How to connect two components in a Proteus schematic. Is that okay? Anybody, any confusion till here? You can stop the simulation by clicking on the stop. It will come and show any errors what there in the simulation. If not, you can come back to your simulation window here. There's a tab for errors here. If something is wrong, it will show the errors. Otherwise, the main tab is the capture tab that is showing your simulation. Is that okay? Anybody has any confusion in this connection? We'll connect 8051 now, but we just wanted to show you how to do a very basic connection. So this is how you can connect a simple LED in the Proteus software. Anything not clear with this? Right. So now once we know this, similarly you can connect any other component, right? So you can pick up whatever components are available in the library and you can make the connection depending on your circuit. So the Proteus is not limited to 8051. You can connect any circuit like this. You can build, you can take an AND gate and connect an IC to it, connect a LED to it and see when the AND gate turns on. So all those kind of different simulations are possible, right? So you can explore them depending on your requirement, which works out for you. Now I will go back to the component mode. So there's a triangle here, that is the component mode. This is terminal mode we are currently in to select the power and ground. To exit this, again place components, go to component mode. Whatever components you choose once will remain in the library here. Okay, and as long as you don't delete from this library, it will be available here for quick use. That means we have selected the LED once. It will be available as long as you don't delete it from the your current project library. Fine. So now I want to place an 8051. That's our current requirement. We want to build a circuit using 8051. go to the pick devices or pick components mode, type 8051 in the search window and hit enter. It will show you a lot of 8051 connection, because but it will just show you anything that is 8051. Okay? So you have to go to the generic microcontroller. You can see there are different microcontrollers available here. Then just select, when you select these, you can see 8039, 8039. You can see they are showing there's no simulation model. Don't select these. Select with something that has proper core, RAM, everything is available. This is a generic controller. This is with whatever RAM is available to you. Okay, so select one with the proper RAM available so that you can use it. We don't have that. Let us see if we have that exact version available with us. 8089 C51. Okay, this is the ideal thing you should select, because for our lab 8089 C51. ED2 is our exact requirement, but the ED2 is not available here. So select this 8089 C1051. That is enough for us. That will work. Or but this looks slightly, all the ports are not available in this. This one should work. This generic 8089 C51. So this has all the ports available. So if you want to be more specific, just type here 8089 C51. So it will show you exactly what you require. So select this as the microcontroller. There are a lot of versions available. Don't select randomly anything, because some of these are slightly different in their configurations. Right? So preferably select this 8089 C51, which will work for the programs that we are going to write. Right? So once you have selected that, click on OK. So you can see 8089 C51 comes here. So if I want to place it, click on C50, 8089 C51, come here and place it in the schematic. Let me zoom out a little. So this is the 8089 C51 board. So you can see all the 4 ports are available. Port 0, port 1, port 2, port 3, with all other pins that you have seen till now. In this, even though the XTAL1, XTAL2 connections are not shown, but we don't need to connect anything specifically here, because that is taken care internally by the controller itself. So you can directly write the code and use it as it is. And you don't need to connect the power and the ground pin also. That is not even shown here, what power and ground pin has to be used. So you can directly start using it for the programming. So now the question is, this is simply a hardware, the IC. It has no program in it. There is no program that is available inside the memory of 8051 by default. So the program part, we have to load into this. Whatever program we want to write and we want to execute as a part of our 8051, we have to write the program for it. So there are 2 ways for executing or writing the program. Once you can right click on it, and there's an option called as edit source code. Last option. Okay, this option, edit source code. You can click on this. It will ask you what compiler you want to use. You can select Keel for 8051 because you have Keel installed. You can click on OK, and it will open a window for you to write the program. But what we will do in the classes, we'll write the program in Keel itself, because we are already used to this. So we'll stick to Keel for writing the program, and we'll see how we can use this program for our requirement. Alright, so this is okay. One of the programs we have written in the class. What is happening here? What's happening? This was for serial transmission. We don't want this. Let us write a smaller, simpler code to make an LED blink. Okay, so let me just delete this. And just write a small piece of code to make an LED blink at some value. And, approximately 1 second. I'm not exactly counting anything here. Start TR1. Wait for GMB TF1. Set not. Right, so we are using P1.0 as an output pin. So we have made it 0. We have written a small code to set up the timer and make it run approximately for 1 second delay. And after 1 second, we are complementing P1.0 and this will go on infinitely. So it's back. We are going to go back to the. So this is just a small code to make an LED blink. And so write the program, whatever you want to do in the Proteus, right? And in the key, we will connect this program inside the key. We'll show you how to do that. So I'll just add this into my key and build it first. Let me build and see if there are any errors first. What is wrong?
Set the back.
Syntax error. Alright, so there are no errors now. So now this program, what we have written here, has to be converted into a machine level code, which can be loaded into the Proteus, because Proteus is a hardware. It does not understand assembly code, C code, nothing it will understand. It requires a binary level, machine level code for it to run. So we can convert any given program in Keel into a machine level code by creating something called as a hex file. Right? So for that, what you have to do, right click on your source group. And there's a first option called as options for source group 1. Let's click on this option for source group 1. Okay, not option for source group 1, options for target 1. Right click on target. There's a first option called options for target 1. Alright, so click on options for target 1. There is a lot of options available here. One of the tabs will be the output tab. You click on output, right? So by default, you will see that this is not selected. There's an option called as create hex file. Okay, the second checkbox, which by default is not going to be checked. Check it. Say create hex file. So hex file will be generated for whatever program is part of your project here. And where will this hex file be saved? You can select that here. There's an option called as select folder for objects. It's an option called select folder for objects. So if you want to save it at a specific location, click on select folder for objects. For example, right now it is showing me desktop. Let me select some other folder. Let's say I want to save it in a folder called microcontroller MUSI. So I'm selecting C users, username, desktop, MUSI. This is where I want to store the hex file that will be generated as a part of this compilation. Click on OK. And after you have ticked this, click on OK. That's the only two things you have to do. Select where you want to save your hex file and create that, tick that checkbox which says create hex file, and then build this again. Build the target again. Once you're building it, while building it, you will see a line called as creating hex file. You can see that line here. So there's an option creating hex file. Okay. So this is the hex file that is being created for whatever project you have used. So that means if this line is not there, that means hex file has not been generated. Okay, so once you see this line, that is okay. That means hex file is there. So just to verify it, has it been generated or not, let us go to that folder. We had selected C drive, desktop, and the MUSI folder. Let me go to desktop and let me go to the MUSI folder. Okay, so MUSI folder is where we had selected it. And the project name is first PROG. So you can search for this. You can see first PROG. You can see there's a folder file name called as first PROG.hex. This is the hex file that has been generated as a part of whatever we compiled just now. right? So if this is not there, you can't load anything into your Proteus. So once your and this will be only generated if there are no errors in the key compilation that you're doing. Right? So if there are errors, the hex file will not be generated automatically. So once hex file is generated, this file I can load into my Proteus software. So right click on this microcontroller symbol, then click on edit properties. Okay, the second option called edit properties. There's an option called as program file. Which program do you want to execute? So there's a browse button here. It's a folder type of button. Click on that folder button. It will ask you to point to where the program file is located. Just go to whichever folder you have saved the program file. So I have saved it in desktop UC folder, and there's a first prog.hex. This is my folder hex file. So select this and click on open. And once you can see that file has been listed here, then click on OK. That means now what we have done, we have loaded into this 8051 this program. Whatever we have written here, this program has been loaded into this 8051. Right? Now, in this, we are connected according to the program. LED is connected to pin 1.0. So let me take an LED from here and place it here, and let me connect it to pin 1.0. Okay, so let me take it. So I'm connecting the anode here, and I will connect the cathode to ground. Let me connect the cathode to ground. As of now, that's all the connections required, because there is no other hardware present. We don't need to connect anything else. We only have one LED present in the program, so only one LED we are connected. So that's all that is there. You have linked the program, you connected the hardware, just execute it now. Just save whatever you have done just now, and you can start executing it. Run the program. You can see the LED is blinking approximately at 1 second. It might not be accurate. It might be approximately 1 second. Right? So like that, you can, depending on your requirement, you can connect any other hardware you require here. There's an LCD available. There are motor connections available. Lot of hardwares are available in Proteus. So you can select based on the requirement and make the connections. Write the program in Keel, create the hex file, load it into Proteus and execute it. And you can see the actual hardware output in this screen. Okay, is that okay? Anybody has any confusion in the steps that you have to do? So stop it. You can click on stop here. Stop. This is actually. So you don't need to worry about connecting XTAL1, XTAL2. That is taken care internally by simulator. If you want, you can connect it. Nothing wrong even if you do, but it's not required. Similarly, the reset pin is also not connected. By default, you have to actually ground it. Because connect a +5 volts here, because reset is an active low reset. So, but all those things are not required right now. The simulator will take care of that. Right? So that's the basic simulation. So we will be giving you questions based on this. So let us say I want to connect a switch here now. Let's say I want to connect a switch based LED control. So I can connect a switch. You can search for a switch. So there are a lot of switches available. So this is search for a very basic switch. You can see the switch here. I can say I want to use the switch. Click on OK. Switch comes here. Take the switch. Place it wherever you want. You rotate it. If you want to connect this switch to 8051, we have seen that how the switch should be connected. A switch is always connected in this format. There is a +5 volt supply, goes to switch, switch other end goes to ground, and the +5 volt side is connected to the pin whatever you want to use it. This is a standard way of connecting any switch, right? Because what happens when the switch is not connected, the switch will read 5 volts from here. When the switch gets closed, it gets grounded, so the pin reads a 0 from the ground. So you can either read a 1 when the switch is open, you read a 0 when the switch is closed. So if you want to do this, all you have to do is make the necessary connections now. So the switch is available. You can go to your terminal mode, pick up a power terminal from here, place the power terminal here, take a ground terminal, place the ground terminal here, connect these two first. So the switch connections are done, and select any pin you want to connect it to. Let's say I want to connect it to 2.6. So take from 2.6, connect it to my plus 5 volt side. So the switch connections are done. Now you can write a program which will control this LED based on the switch. So how do you do that? So we're using pin 2.6. So let me modify the same program here. So my switch pin 2.6 is an input pin. So I'll do a set bit pin 2.6 to make it into an input pin. So I don't need any TMOD now because I'm going to control the switch pin LED based on the switch. So if let's say JNB, by default the switch is, when the switch is open, we don't want the LED to turn on. You want LED to turn on when the switch is closed. Fine. So if you want LED to turn on when the switch is closed, that means it reads a 0. Right? So if it reads a 0, only then you want to make the pin 1.0 as high. Otherwise, you want to keep it at low. Fine. So by default, we have initially kept the pin at low. We want to retain the low state as long as the switch is not read as 0. So if the switch is reading high, pin 2.6 is reading high, then we wait here itself. We don't do anything else. All right. In case it reads a 0, then we'll come here and set the pin 1.0 to turn it on. Okay. And then we'll, after this, it will turn on. I will not, ideally you would want to put a wait here to wait for some time to see if it the switch is on, then you make it wait for some time and then again check the switch. But we'll not put that wait for now. I'll just end the program here. Okay, that's about it. That's all we want to do. Turn on the LED when the switch is pressed. Very basic program. Right, so now this is generated the hex file. So go to the Proteus, right click. You don't need to do this every time, but just as a safety precaution, we do it in case things don't, it's not remembered. Click it, run it. As of now, the LED is not blinking, neither is it turned on because the switch is not closed. Go here, close the switch, you can see LED turns on instantly. If you open the switch, nothing is going to happen. Okay, it's automatically in the loop, so it's okay. Whenever I close the switch, LED turns on. Right, so this will keep on going on continuously. There is no other part in the code, so this will keep on running infinitely. Right, so like this, you can select the hardware and do the connections. We'll not give you many hardwares in your simulations in the assignment that we're going to give you. It will be basic switch and LED based controls and maybe some manipulation combination of these switches and LEDs. We just want to make sure that you are understanding how to use Proteus, because this is a software we'll again use in the next semester when we'll come to the labs. Right. So any doubts? Yeah.
After that switch is closed, how will I judge where the pin is connected, to the ground or to VCC?
How will you know?
Because it is a straight complete wire. After closing the switch, how will I know that pin is connected to the VCC and not the ground, or ground and not the VCC?
It is
because
connected
it is a straight
to
complete
ground.
conducting wire.
Yes. So this is a short circuit. Right. So
I need to use resistor, right?
You see, ideally you would not short circuit it because you would want to put a resistor here just to avoid the short circuit. But when you are closing the switch, you are creating a low resistance path between the power supply and the ground, as opposition to another alternative path which goes through the controller, which has a lot of other components and resistances inside it. So by default, the path it is going to take is to the ground. And because it's an input pin, it is going to read.
Current will take that part, but some voltage will reflect, right?
Reflect where? See, this is an input pin. So it is going to read the voltage at this point. Right. So because whatever the pin 2.6 sees is going to be what is the voltage at this point. So as long as the voltage at this point is somewhere near ground, between 0 to even it goes up till 0.5 or 0.9 volts, even that is taken as 0 itself. Okay.
So,
So
but my question is, why won't it be VCC? Because it is connected to VCC to the conducting wire.
yeah, but this is short circuited, right? Now this is a short circuit. So obviously, what will happen if you measure voltage between this point and this point? If I put a multimeter here, what am I going to read?
No, I get
You
that,
put
but it is absurd kind of cases because the same thing applies for that 5 volt source. That is also a constant source, so that will also give me 5 volt, and I have short circuited it to the ground. So it is
yes.
kind of
So
absurd.
when this is not there, when this ground is not there, and this is measuring the voltage, you are measuring voltage between this becomes plus 5 volts here between this point and the ground of the 8051. So obviously between this point and ground you have this 5 volts available because this point is at 5 volts. That is why this pin 2.6 will see this 5 volts as output. But when you close the switch, when you close this switch and then you put a voltmeter here, now you have a straight path to ground. So this point is going to become 0 volts. And whatever this pin 2.6 reads is basically the voltage between this point and the ground. Ground can be here, ground can be inside the 8051, whatever ground is available to it. So this is basically reading the voltage, that is all. So when 2.6 reads the voltage at this point and the switch is closed, it obviously sees a 0 because it has a direct ground available. But when this ground is not there, the connection becomes like this, plus 5 volts, then to spin and then to ground. So now 2.6 is in between here. So now we have plus 5 volts here and ground on other side. So between these 2 points, it is obviously plus 5 volts. But when the switch is closed, the ground is available on this side itself. So if I measure a voltage here, 2.6 is always going to read this 0 only. Right. So there's a difference between where the ground is connected. When the switch is open, the ground is connected on this side of the 8051. When you close it, the ground is connected on the pin side itself. So obviously, you are going to read this ground as 0, and this ground will not matter anymore because you're already reading a 0 here. You're basically shorting ground and ground, which is nothing. It does not make any difference to the pin at all. Right. So the idea is to measure the voltage here, and that voltage is what this reads basically. So because you are creating a short circuit, this point is going to read a 0 volt. Ideally, in a practical scenario, you will not connect it straight. You will put a very small resistance here because shorting a plus 5 volts and ground is never a good idea. So you will put a small amount of resistance here to avoid the short circuit current, but still it will almost be equal to 0. Even if you connect a small resistance, you will still see it almost as 0. Or you will connect a resistance here between plus 5 volts and then go to pin 2.6. So even if you connect this, you will still see a 0 as the value. And so the idea is, where is the ground? Is the ground on the side of pin or is the ground on this side of pin? Depending on that, it will see the voltage. Is that okay or still not very clear?
Okay.
All right. So that's about it. I'm not going to show all the possible hardwares. You can explore that yourself. There are a lot of hardwares available in Proteus. Even if, let's say, you want to search for a motor, you can pick up a motor from the parts terminal. If I type motor, let us say, so there are a lot of motors available: simple DC motor, bipolar motor, stepper motor. Everything is available in it. So you can take based on what you require, and servo motor is available. So we can do a lot of permutation combination. We are not going to give you questions on all these servo motor and all because we have not taught you all that. But we'll be giving you questions basics on switches and LEDs and stuff like that. Right. So that's about it. We will share you the software to link to download this and install it. Please do it in next 1 or 2 days so that you can start working on the simulation and present it to us as quickly as possible. Okay, thank you.